folks, today is Friday, April 30th, 2021. As usual, my name is Jen Baldino, here to talk about the video game news that has been going on this week. It's a great week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm really excited, so let's just jump in. The first thing, actually, is some Dying Light 2 news. Finally! I feel like we've been waiting forever after this game was notoriously delayed indefinitely last year. We've been clamoring for new information, and thankfully Techland has given us a little wee bit here, thanks to a YouTube video, AMA, essentially, that the developers did, giving us some new details here and there. A couple of interesting and significant things that they doubled down on. The fact that the game will not have modern weapons, like guns, machine guns, pistols, anything like that, or anything you saw in the original Dying Light, which I think is a really cool shift, right?
It's like, 10 years, right?
They're going for the whole it's like really post-apocalyptic now.
Yeah, so eventually those guns would have just broken or
yeah.
just I don't know.
Exactly.
Expired. Do they go bad?
Do guns expire? I don't know. There is going to be like a kind of homemade, crafted, busted shotgun that you're going to be able to use as a sidearm. But besides that, most of the ranged weapons are going to be a little bit more medieval in a sense. Think bows and arrows and stuff like that. Cool, creative, bold, and along with that, they've also reiterated that there are going to be no drivable vehicles. Again, just because of the way this new world works. Also, we now have official confirmation that it is just about 7 square kilometers, but that doesn't really totally take into account a lot of the elevation and interior stuff going on. But there's a lot to look forward to so far. I'm just glad that they're giving us more information again. I do think we're going to hear a lot more very soon. I just have a good feeling that more solid information is coming out soon. So keep your eyes peeled. And in other news, Rockstar Games is hiring. Possibly for a new project, although it's hard to determine. Obviously, every time something like this happens, the rumor mill fires up, so that's what people are led to believe. But Rockstar has put out a posting for game testers for Rockstar North in Scotland. Shout out Scotland, I know some of you guys out there watch. So not to be like your boring video game uncle or anything like that, I tend to be, but a tester could be for anything, as much as this could be for Grand Theft Auto 6 or Bully 2 or Agent, whatever. This also very much likely could just be a tester for new Grand Theft Auto Online modes or something not as exciting. That's just how the world works. But still, if you want to look at it as they're ramping up for a new thing, I mean, realistically, they probably are anyway, so there you go. Also, in other news, Respawn is doing the same thing. They have posted new job postings implying that they are working on a new IP, which seems like they're taking on a lot, but on the other hand, Respawn has been incredibly ambitious lately. I think they got BDE, essentially, with the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, them making another one. The fact that Apex Legends is like this insane monolithic hit. They can really do whatever they want, so I'm really excited to see them just grow and make more cool stuff. I've always been a big fan of them, starting from Titanfall. In other news, some newsy type of inside baseball news I wanted to put in front of you guys. I've talked a lot for the last couple of months about how we're going to see more and more game delays because of the pandemic and how that affected development and internal studios. And now there's a little bit more paper backing that up. So a GDC study surveyed 3,000 game developers, and according to them, 44% of them have been impacted by the pandemic and have had their games delayed. So this says, yes, this is definitely a thing, and there might be more on the horizon. Not to be Uncle Bummer, it's not all bad news or anything, but also 49% of developers claim that they have had no delays due to the pandemic, and 7% just haven't had any active projects in development over the last year, whether that's good or bad. On the bright side, with the overall picture, when there is a lull, there is often a boom, and I'm looking forward to that. Let's go. Now let's talk about the big players real quick. First, Sony, once again, has reiterated that they are committed to more studios and putting more money to aggressively fund development. This was during a conference call where Sony's CFO was talking about fiscal forecast, adult boring type financial stuff. The big thing up in the air still is demand and struggling with getting PlayStation 5 in everybody's hands. But Hiroki Totoki did specifically use the word aggressively invest when talking about first-party studios and also working with external developers, which is a good thing. We love to see it. We've talked about studios that they have announced and stuff. We talked about that new Jade Raymond studio, popping up. So I am looking forward to the fact that there's more to look forward to. Now, on the other side, Xbox has talked about that stuff for a while. You guys know that they've been buying stuff up. They've been gobbling up stuff like crazy. Nom 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 Bethesda. But what is nice to see this week is that they have put out more info. They put out a blog post detailing how they are going even more all in on PC gaming, specifically substantially reducing the cut that they take to sell on their storefronts. Now it is way more competitive with the other storefronts out there and could at least make for some sort of shift or make buying games on Microsoft's marketplace a little bit more of a thing. I don't really do that, but if they're trying to make it easier for developers, especially smaller developers, to get their stuff out there, I'm all for that. Also, in terms of PC stuff, they did give us like a little bit of a new quick look at Halo Infinite, really just some images and screenshots, which, you know, screenshots can only tell half the story, but it looks good, and they've talked about the PC features and how they're specifically doing a lot of work on Halo Infinite for the PC, most notably full native widescreen support, which is crazy. Shout out to widescreen. Can we get a shout out for widescreen?
Shout out for widescreen.
Hey, next up, this episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN. They've been sponsoring us for a long time, and we've been happy to work with them because we take online privacy and security really seriously. I personally use ExpressVPN on all my devices here just because I like as little data as possible going out to advertisers and my ISP. I just like having as little of those annoying targeted ads as possible, but the security benefits are even better. ExpressVPN works by switching your true IP address with one of their own. Your IP address is kind of like your unique internet phone number. Every device has its own unique IP address, which can reveal personal details about you, like where you live, to strangers that you game with online. So ExpressVPN lets you browse privately and safely. It's really simple and easy to set up, and if you already have a VPN, I highly recommend. I've given it to my parents as a gift, because online security and privacy is the best thing. So if you want to check it out and it helps the show, you can find out how you can get 3 months free by going to the link in the description or on screen here. It's expressvpn.com/Gameranx. And thanks again to ExpressVPN for sponsoring our videos. Also, just yesterday, of course, in case you missed it, we got a new State of Play from PlayStation with a bunch of new gameplay for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. There's not really too much to say about this. We're playing it on screen here. It looks like a cartoon come to life. Thankfully, most importantly, the gameplay looks fun, although zipping yourself across a map with that Rift thing does look pretty jarring. I really like what they're doing here, from the weapons, the visuals, the new mobility and traversal stuff. I know they haven't shown much gameplay before this, but I was already sold. But now that I got another glimpse, I'm just even more all in. But let's roll over onto some other things. We have all this stuff linked in the description, some trailers and some videos and stuff you may have missed, or maybe stuff you want to check out. The first is a new gameplay video for Lost Soul Aside. This is a crazy new action, like, I don't even know, like, it's insane. It's got some Devil May Cry vibes to me, but this was originally like worked on by one developer. It's now become this big, gorgeous, crazy thing. I'm really excited to see where this goes. I've also included launch trailers for some games that are coming out this weekend. The first is a new Pokemon Snap. As a launch trailer for that. It's been the first Pokemon Snap game in 20 years. Wow, things have changed. Wow, I'm still talking about the same video game as this later. Also, launch trailer for Returnal, the big PS5 game from Housemarque. Both dropping this weekend. I'm working on having before you buy videos for both of them. Thank you for your patience. We don't get every game early, so just keep your eyes peeled. Now some really cool stuff that people made. First, we have somebody who made the TRON Light Cycle game in Dreams. As a major TRON fan, I love seeing this. It looks great. And again, I feel like I'm like a broken record at this point, but Dreams is crazy. And what people can do in this thing with the tools they're given is nuts and consistently surprising. Also, just the concept of the light cycle game, everything about it, just makes for a fun video game. I don't know why we don't see that more. That's a whole nother point. But also linked in the description, something I'm really excited about is YouTuber SnazzyAI linked me this earlier in the week. This is all of the Legacy of Kain Blood Omen cutscenes, beautifully redone at a higher frame rate, 1080p, super sharp. Obviously, the cutscenes were rough already, considering the time period. As a kid, I thought they were realistic, which is really funny. But just seeing it now restored and even more brightness, sharpness, fidelity is really cool to experience as an old Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, fan of Nosgoth in general. I love AI upscaling technology. I find it fascinating. Definitely check out his video, and in his description, he explains how he did it and what tech he used. Super cool. Also, did you like... The Japanese YouTube account of Biohazard or Resident Evil uploaded what seemed to be like a new promo thing for Resident Evil Village, and it was just like a puppet show musical. I have a loss for words. If you want to see it for yourself, all this stuff is linked in the description down below. Now, the last story here is a little bit of a bummer, but I still think it's worth highlighting. Toys for Bob. The developers behind many things, many Activision properties, but most recently, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, are officially kind of being absorbed into Activision Blizzard, and they're going to be helping work on the next Call of Duty game. From the scuttlebutt out there on the industry side, what people are saying, it seems like there were layoffs and people just choosing to leave the studio after this decision. And this comes as like a big blow, again, with like a big corporation doing a move like this and putting them on like switch hitter backup duty for Call of Duty, where they made essentially the best Crash Bandicoot game since the Naughty Dog games. At least that's my personal opinion. I absolutely loved It's About Time. It was super creative. It was really respectful of the OG games, but it was just great. So I'm sad that it seems like Activision just doesn't want to make another one. I'm glad that some people were able to still keep jobs and still keep earning a paycheck working on a different project. That's great. But it is a shame for the people who got laid off or just felt forced to leave, and the fact that we're not getting another like a Crash 5. It's About More Time. I don't know what they would call it. So pour one out for the old Toys for Bob we used to know. We'll keep you guys updated on that. Of course, this news is still kind of breaking at the time of recording this video, so if there's anything wrong, it seems like everything checks out so far, but I want to hear from you guys in the comments everything we talked about this week. It's a chock full week. So number one, of course, as always, we want to know what you're playing. Are you jumping into one of those new games, new Pokemon Snap or Returnal on PS5? And speaking of PS5, did you watch the State of Play? Are you excited for Ratchet and Clank? Were you not excited? Did this put you over the edge, or are you just all in? Also, there's that Dying Light news, the Rockstar news, the delays, the things people are working on. Let's talk about anything video game news down in the comments. I definitely want to hear from you guys. We'll be down there as much as possible. Things get a little chaotic, though, so if you want to yell at me directly, of course, as always, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino, and my other YouTube channel, it's just called Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for coming around every Friday. We love getting you guys caught up on the news. We have a blast here, right?
Yeah.
Right?
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 Clicking the like button helps, genuinely, for that stupid algorithm. Thank you for helping us out. But I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching. Pizza's on me.